Allow me to introduce myself. I am Father Samuel Wright. For more than 20 years, I have had the profound honor of being part of the inner circle of the Holy See, most recently walking alongside Pope Benedictus II as a spiritual companion in the twilight of his life. This tale does not revolve around papal decrees or grand cathedrals. It delves into a realm of profound closeness, a goodbye that stands apart from any I have ever seen. Pope Benedictus embodied not only deep faith but also an extraordinary gentleness that touched the hearts of many. In those last moments, surrounded by the gentle glow of candles and the soothing echoes of Gregorian chants, in the serene corner of the papal residence, it was not a cardinal or bishop who kept him company. Once upon a time, there was a golden retriever known as Leo. For nearly a decade, Leo had stood by his side sharing in journeys across the globe, enduring sleepless nights filled with prayer, and wandering in quiet contemplation through the serene gardens of the Vatican. Yet, what truly stirred my soul was not the tale of their past. In those last precious moments, the sanctity of their connection shone brightly. This was not merely a farewell between a holy figure and a beloved companion. It was a poignant farewell, a father bidding goodbye to his last remaining son. And now, with a heart full of anticipation, I unveil to you the whispers I encountered in that hallowed stillness. In the crisp embrace of early winter 2025, the winds of change began to stir. Rome had turned chilly. Much like the frail form of Pope Benedictus II, the physicians referred to it as a gradual systemic decline in his lungs, heart, and vitality gently fading into the shadows. Yet, there was no need for them to share that with me. I noticed it in the deliberate pace of his morning prayers, in the way he started to lose recognition of those he once knew well. And Leo sensed it before anyone else. The golden retriever, once a lively spirit racing through the marble halls of the apostolic palace, now seldom strayed far from the Pope's side. He would softly lay his head on Benedictus's lap during the daily mass in the private chapel, choosing not to eat until the Pope stirred, often remaining still at the edge of the bed while his master slumbered. As the sun dipped below the Vatican dome, casting a warm golden glow, I stumbled upon a poignant Leo sprawled by the bed, while the Pope's trembling hand gently caressed his thick fur. Not a single one of them stirred. It felt like the very fabric of time had come to a standstill, paying tribute to the depth of their connection. That evening, Benedictus beckoned me to stay behind after the compline prayers had concluded. His voice floated softly, like a gentle breeze barely breaking the silence. "Father Samuel," he declared, "I have a strong feeling that Leo is aware." "What is it that you know, Your Holiness?" I inquired. Yet deep within, I was already aware that I won't be here much longer. He replied, his gaze gentle yet unwavering. He gazes at me, not with bewilderment, but with a deep sense of comprehension. I took a deep breath. The stillness that ensued weighed more than the most profound melody. Would you promise to ensure he feels loved when I'm no longer here?" he inquired. "Not confined within a frigid vault. I desire for him to reside in a warm and welcoming abode, in the company of young ones, with joy and mirth. He truly merits that." I nodded, feeling a constriction in my throat. "Indeed, Your Holiness, I vow." Then he smiled. That same inviting, paternal smile he wore when bestowing blessings upon the pilgrims. With a deliberate motion, he extended his hand downward, and Leo raised his head to connect with his master's touch. "You've been my dearest friend," he murmured softly. "You protected my quiet moments, shared in my grief, and illuminated the path when I could not see it." With a single wag of his tail, Leo seemed to respond, a silent acknowledgement in the air. In that moment, I understood. This wasn't merely a man saying goodbye to a pet. It was a spirit bidding farewell to its reflection. Leo embodied the gentleness, patience, and loyalty that Benedictus had sought to share with the world. As I stepped out of the room that night, I cast one last look over my shoulder. The Pope lay in slumber, while Leo kept vigil, his gaze unwavering and intent, standing watch over the delicate threshold between breath and eternity. On the fateful night of February 28th, 2025, the air was gripped by an unusual chill, one that seemed to linger longer than the rest. The Vatican walls stood in an eerie silence, as though the very essence of the city was aware of the impending events. As the last whispers of evening prayers faded, I made my way back to the papal residence, eager to see how Pope Benedictus was faring. The familiar embrace of warmth that typically filled the room was nowhere to be found. The flames flickered softly, casting shadows as a peculiar chill enveloped the air. In a quiet corner, Leo nestled at the foot of the Pope's bed, a silent witness to the unfolding tales of faith and reverence. His head lay gently upon his paws, yet slumber eluded him. His eyes were wide open, observing, anticipating. From the instant I stepped inside, an unsettling feeling washed over me. The Pope's breath came in shallow gasps. His hands, typically resting peacefully over his chest, began to twitch ever so slightly. I leaned in, my fingers brushing against his wrist, searching for the rhythm of life. It was erratic. As I reached for the emergency monitor, a haunting sound escaped Leo, a long, low whimper that echoed in the stillness. And then, an event unfolded that had never graced the pages of history before. He let out a mournful cry. A solitary, chilling howl reverberated against the marble walls, breaking the stillness and resonating deep within me, stirring something profound and unsettling. In a flurry of urgency, the doctors burst through the door. In the stillness, machines emitted their rhythmic beeps. And just like that, the serene bubble we had inhabited for weeks was pierced by the stark reality. His Holiness was slipping away more swiftly than anyone had anticipated. For what felt like an eternity, the medical team labored to bring him back, while I lingered in the shadows, my heart heavy with hope, my rosary clutched firmly in my grasp. Leo remained steadfastly by his side, unwavering in his loyalty. Amidst the tangled tubes and wires that enveloped the bed, Leo nestled against the Pope's arm, determined to hold on as if he were engaged in a battle for his very presence. As the clock struck 3 a.m., a serene hush enveloped the surroundings. His breathing found a steadier rhythm, just enough for the doctors to retreat into the hallway, keeping a watchful eye from a distance. In the quiet aftermath, I lingered, and Leo chose to remain as well. I knelt beside the Pope's bed, and for a fleeting moment, silence enveloped the room once more. In that moment, a hand gently grazed against mine. "Father," he murmured softly. I drew closer. "Indeed, Your Holiness." His gaze darted to Leo. "He wept for me, didn't he?" I nodded, holding back the tears that threatened to spill. "Indeed, he was aware, prior to any of us." He offered a subtle smile. Creatures of the wild, they offer their affection freely, without the burden of explanation. Devoid of arrogance, they cherish with a divine affection. After a moment of silence, he continued, "I was afraid to die, until tonight. Yet, if the divine has permitted such a being to journey alongside me this distance, maybe a sanctuary awaits us both, already crafted by his hand." His grip tightened for a moment, then eased back into a gentle hold. He gently slipped back into the embrace of slumber. The following morning, a discreet internal memo circulated within the Vatican. Pope Benedictus is in critical, but stable condition. Yet, deep down, I understood the truth beyond those words. The night Leo howled was more than a mere medical occurrence. It was the moment when the heavens softly knocked at the door. And there was Leavre Loyal. Leo was the first to catch the sound. As the days unfolded after the Pope's unexpected decline, life beyond the Vatican continued its steady pulse. Briefings echoed, Cardinals gathered in solemn assembly, and candles flickered softly in St. Peter's Basilica. Yet within that serene chamber, time seemed to linger in a reverent stillness. In those moments, I found myself immersed in his world, sharing the sacred texts and whispering prayers at his bedside. And there, at the foot of the bed, rested Leo silent, still, steadfast. One afternoon, as golden sunlight streamed through the lofty arched windows, Pope Benedictus turned to me, revealing a weariness I had never witnessed before, not merely of the body, but of the very soul. "Father Samuel," he whispered, "are you aware of the regret that weighs on my heart?" In that moment, I found myself pausing, caught in a web of uncertainty. "What is it, Your Holiness?" That I lingered too long before grasping the genuine essence of love. It lay beyond the realms of councils, homilies, and doctrine. There's a certain magic in the way Leo settles beside me, a silent presence that speaks volumes. He doesn't inquire about my current frailty, my diminished strength, or the way I seem to be slipping away. He simply remains. A hush fell over me, leaving me utterly without words. In that moment, the Pope stood before us, unadorned by the weight of his titles, his voice resonating not with authority but with the raw honesty of a modern elder. Reflecting on the twilight of his journey, he continued, "Leo imparted a lesson that the Church occasionally overlooks. Affection flows freely, without the need for validation. It defies reason. It's an essence that surrounds us. Steadfast companionship, simply existing in that moment." That moment struck deep within me. For more than 3 decades, I dedicated my life to the Church, delivering sermons, listening to confessions, and welcoming infants into the faith through baptism. Yet, no theological tome or lecture from the hallowed halls could ever ready me for this profound realization that the truest essence of love may reside not in eloquent phrases, but in the quiet strength of unwavering loyalty, and a canine companion who steadfastly held your gaze, even as the world around faded into oblivion. As the evening unfolded, I found myself in the courtyard just outside the Pope's window, observing Leo as he moved gracefully in circles before finally coming to rest near the door. Once more, I found myself murmuring, "You knew, in a way. You had an uncanny ability to sense his needs, even when the rest of us were oblivious." The shift in viewpoint extended beyond just the Pope. It belonged to me as well. For many years, I dedicated myself to the pursuit of being an exemplary priest, aiming to adhere to every principle, to embody the teachings faithfully. Yet, as the first observed Leo, a profound understanding began to dawn on me. It is about accompanying someone through their pain, to embrace the stillness, to remain. In those last days, the Pope was uncovering profound truths, and thus, I found myself in the same situation. The following morning, as I stepped into his chamber, Pope Benedictus was already alert, his eyes fixed on the garden beyond. He remained facing away, not acknowledging my presence. Instead, he extended his hand toward Leo, who immediately stood to greet it. With tears glistening in his eyes, the Pope spoke softly. "He never asked anything of me, Samuel," he simply offered. "That is elegance. That is the essence of divine love." In those last moments, as the days of mid-March 2025 unfolded, the Pope's condition took on an air of uncertainty, weaving a narrative filled with suspense. On certain days, a glimmer of clarity would shine through him, and he would share light-hearted jokes with the nurses. On certain days, he floated in and out of a dreamy twilight, murmuring prayers in Latin that only the walls and Leo could catch. Yet, on a fateful morning, he astonished us all. As I stepped into his chamber, anticipating the familiar stillness of our routine, I discovered him already seated upright, delicate, indeed, but keenly aware. Leo stood beside him, his tail wagging softly, as if he could feel the change in the air around them. Pope Benedictus gazed at me and declared, "Samuel, I wish to step outside." I paused, my mind racing to grasp his words. "Shall we venture outside, Your Holiness?" He nodded with a measured, thoughtful grace. "The garden, once more, if you please." Alongside Leo, a moment of uncertainty washed over me. The healers might not be in favor. I'm not inquiring from a position of authority. That hushed any dissent. In no time at all, I collaborated with a team to bring it to life. They brought forth a chair, crafted with care, equipped with oxygen support, and draped with a cloak to guard against the chill of the breeze. I accompanied him, step by step, through the journey ahead, and Leo remained ever faithful, moving softly ahead, then returning as if leading us through sacred terrain. As we wandered under the olive trees, the Pope leaned in and softly shared, "This was my sanctuary. You know, the soul realm where I can embrace my identity and not merely exist as an emblem." As we arrived at the fountain in the heart of the square, he beckoned us to pause. With a flourish, he delved into the depths of his cloak and retrieved a small wooden box, its surface worn and mysterious. Within lay vials of sacred oil. "Gather the little ones," he declared. I turned and beheld a gathering of staff familius groundskers. Cooks, nursewomen had brought their little ones, their hearts filled with uncertainty about whether they would be granted the chance to meet him one final time. They lingered with a sense of awe, maintaining a respectful distance. I beckoned them to come closer. One by one, the Pope gently anointed their foreheads, his soft whispers weaving prayers of protection into the air. Leo nestled beside each child, his tail rhythmically thumping the ground, as though bestowing his own heartfelt blessing upon them. Soft giggles danced through the air, and even the parents found themselves dabbing at their eyes. In a quaint, secret garden nestled behind the walls of the Vatican, Pope Benedictus bestowed his last public blessing not upon cardinals or kings, but upon the sons of gardeners, the daughters of cooks, and the tiniest of spirits. As we made our way back to the residence, I leaned in and whispered, "You gifted them a memory that will last a lifetime." With a subtle smile, he gazed into the distance, lost in thought. "No, they bestowed upon me tranquility." As we stepped through the doors again, Leo nestled closer to his side, and as the Pope felt his strength waning with each passing moment, he softly murmured, "That was my Easter, Samuel. That marked the beginning of my new journey." In the final weeks of Pope Benedictus's life, a subtle transformation stirred within Mezzofly, nearly unnoticed at first, like a gentle breeze weaving through the drapes of an ancient garment. I journeyed beside brilliant thinkers, engaged in spirited debates, and shared my voice in gatherings of wisdom. Yet nothing had stirred the depths of my being quite like the scene unfolding before me now. I had believed I was the one imparting wisdom in these closing moments. Yet, I found myself mistaken. It was Pope Benedictus, and curiously, Leo, who were guiding me back to a truth I had long set aside: how to embrace love in its purest form. Once, on a quiet evening, the Pope, his voice faded with time, and I found ourselves enveloped in a profound silence, sharing a moment that transcended words. The flickering candlelight played upon his features while he reclined, one hand gently resting on Leo's golden fur. In the absence of ceremony, the moment lingered quietly, unadorned and raw. No hallowed script. Simply breathe, simply be. And thus, it sufficed. I started to understand that true holiness transcends the fabric of vestments and the echoes of Latin hymns. It's revealed in the way we remain by the side of those nearing the end, unafraid, in the ways we cherish that which cannot return our affection in language, yet communicates with us all the same. In his serene commitment, Leo never questioned the reasons behind his actions. He sought neither recognition nor praise. He existed in a state of being ever-present, endlessly patient, and wholly devoted. I observed him and pondered, how many souls had I not embraced with such depth? One night, as I found myself alone in the chapel, wearied and burdened by unspoken questions that had lingered for years, I softly uttered, "Why him? Lord, what brings us to this moment?" In the stillness, I lingered. In that moment, I sensed it, a fleeting recollection, a snapshot from a time long past when I wandered the halls of seminary, filled with dreams yet shadowed by uncertainty. I inquired of a venerable priest, "What does holiness resemble?" And he replied, "You'll recognize it when it takes your hand," speaking volumes without uttering a single word. At last, the pieces fell into place. There stood an elderly figure, weary yet radiating warmth, bestowing his gentle blessings upon the children playing in the garden. A golden retriever lay peacefully, his head gently resting on the edge of a hospital bed, embodying a moment of quiet companionship. And it appeared as though a priest had come to understand that ministry transcended mere preaching. It was fundamentally about presence. In Pope Benedictus' final homily, voiced yet deeply felt, he absorbed all the wisdom I sought. The elegance of unwavering commitment. In the elegance of simplicity lies a profound allure, and the wonder of a love that remains steadfast, never to depart. In the twilight of his final night, as the veil of unconsciousness began to descend, the Pope summoned the strength to open his eyes one last time. He cast a glance my way, then turned to Leo, a smile spreading across his face. "You've both accompanied me on my journey home," he remarked. In that instant, a transformation took place within men and appearance, nor in status, but deep within my very essence. And when the moment arrives for me to depart from this realm, I wish not to be enveloped in applause or surrounded by grand monuments. I long for just one hand to grasp, and a tranquil spirit, but human or otherwise, would decide to remain by my side, solely because love beckoned them to do so. On the 12th day of April in the year 2025, in the quiet hours, just before the first light of dawn broke the horizon, the sky above Rome lingered in a hush of blue-gray, where even the bells of St. Peter's appeared to be in a deep slumber. Within the sacred walls of the papal residence, I found myself once again nestled in the familiar embrace of the armchair. Next to Pope Benedictus' bed, Leo lay curled up beside him, his head softly resting on the Pope's hand, steadfast in his slumber, unwilling to stir. The rhythm of breathing had deepened as the night unfolded. Each rise of the Pope's chest was lighter, softer, like a tide retreating for the last time. I knew the hour had come, and yet there was peace. A peace I didn't expect, but one that filled every corner of the room like incense. Suddenly, the Pope stirred. His eyes opened, clouded but calm, and he turned his head toward Leo. A small, slow smile appeared. He looked at me and whispered, "Samuel, are we still walking together?" I stood, gently taking his other hand. "Always." Then he looked at Leo and murmured, "Good boy. You made it all the way." His voice was barely audible. "I shall await your arrival at the gate." And in an unforgettable moment, Leo released a soft, almost reverent sigh. With a tender gesture, he brushed his tongue against the Pope's hand, then bowed his head, remaining motionless in reverence. Pope Benedictus gently closed his eyes. A final breath slipped away, gentle, elegant, akin to a hushed prayer drifting into the infinite. He had vanished into the ether. Silence reigned, devoid of any grand announcements, only the hush of stillness. Divine, hallowed stillness. Leo remained still. He lingered there, as if watching not for the end, but for a transition into brilliance. In the blink of an eye, the sun began its ascent. It poured forth a golden warmth through the window, bathing the Pope's bed in a light that felt as if heaven itself had embraced it. The dawn's gentle embrace graced his features, revealing a youthfulness that radiated tranquility and a hint of joy. a tranquility that arises not from fleeing, but from a deep sense of satisfaction. I lingered in that room for what felt like an eternity, not as a priest, but as a son witnessing a father's journey back to his roots. As I finally emerged to share the news with the others, I glanced back and found Leo, motionless and contemplative, still resting beside the bed. That image will forever be etched in my memory. In a quiet farewell, they laid Pope Benedictus II to rest, honoring his wishes for simplicity, shing elaborate ceremonies and ornate coffins. Only wood, olive branches, and the cross he bore since the day he was ordained, yet nestled softly beside him. Within the confines of the coffin lay one last offering, a delicate tuft of Leo's golden fur, accompanied by a note I had penned at the Pope's behest just days before. It spoke of a journey shared. He walked with me until the end. May his legacy endure in this way. The tale of Pope Benedictus will be told as one of a profound theologian, a harbinger of peace, and a guiding light of morality. Yet, I shall hold on to the memory of him as the one who truly understood the art of gratitude, who bestowed blessings upon children in gardens, and who, in that last heartbeat, sought solace not in a throne but in the warm embrace of a dog. In that moment, he revealed to the world the essence of divine love, painting a picture that transcended mere words. In the waning moments of his existence, Pope Benedictus II turned away from theology, titles, and the clamor of applause. He yearned for connection. In Leo, his devoted golden retriever, he discovered a love that the world frequently overlooks, unwavering, serene, and steadfastly loyal. It is a common notion that legacy is crafted in the grand gesturous speeches, the titles, the accolades. But what if the most profound legacy unfolds in quietude, in a gentle grasp that lingered through every moment, in a loyal companion who remained by your side through every adventure, in a gentle murmur of appreciation? Pope Benedictus revealed that the deepest essence of grace lies not in flawlessness, but in being truly present, not achievement, but bond. Leo neither delivered sermons nor dispensed sacraments. Yet, his presence was a profound lesson, his loyalty, a testament of devotion. Through their connection, we are reminded that love, a genuine love, reaches its highest form when it seeks nothing in return. Ah, the timeless truth, love endures. Even as words slip away and strength wanes, love endures. What implications does this hold for us? Perhaps we aren't the highest of authorities, and perhaps our companions aren't as devoted as Leo. Yet, there exists a soul who calls for our presence steadfastly, silently, a partner facing the challenges of sickness, a companion navigating the depths of sorrow, an aged figure, solitary in their quiet space. The perfect words are not a necessity. Not everything requires your touch to be made right. All you have to do is show up. Take a seat next to them. Gather round. Take their hand gently. Allow your affection to resonate in the quiet moments. And if you have a pet, hold them dear to your heart. In their unwavering loyalty, one may catch a glimpse of a celestial reflection.